Geometry is all around us. So what are the various things that you see here?
Shapes, sizes, vertices,
Okay?
diameter, perimeter,
Okay.
area.
So what we are going to learn today is the various mathematical terms that we use in geometry, right? To start with, let us understand what do you mean by a point. So what is a point? What do you think is a point?
A part of a line.
A part of a line? So point is just a part. It's in onto something there on the space, right? So if here I am and I mark this, this is a point. So does this have width? Does this have length? So a point does not have width. So wherever you are going to mark something, that's called as a point. It's a part of a space, right? So to begin with, we start with a point. When I join many points together, now how many points do you think will this line have?
Infinite.
Why do you say it will have infinite points?
Because you can mark as many as you can.
So we can mark as many points as possible on this line. So therefore, a line can be joined with infinite number of points. Now in mathematics, when I say line, there are two things there. A line which we can measure, a line which would have a definite length. Now from here to that part, when I go to the end, right, is this a definite length or not a definite length? It is a definite length. So something which we can measure is called as a line segment. Okay, how is a line segment formed?
By 2 points in a line.
2 points in a line.
Between 2 points.
Okay, so now till here have you understood what's a line segment? So definite length. Okay, now it starts from, now when I come to this point here, okay, this is starting from one point. So the point from where it starts is called as your vertex. Okay, vertex is your origin. From where anything begins is your vertex. So here you can see that this line is starting and this line is also starting. So the two lines are meeting. So we do not say it as lines, we term it as ray. In mathematics, we call that as ray. So what is a ray? A ray will have a starting point, but it will not have an ending point. You will not know where it will end. That is a ray. So here you can see how many rays are here. One this direction, the other this direction. So there are two rays, right? But these rays, so as you generally say, a ray of light. What do you mean by a ray of light?
It starts from start.
So there's a starting point, but then it keeps going, right? So similarly here, there is a starting point and you have two this meeting at that point. But here it is of definite length, right? So it is termed as a line segment. So when a ray has a definite length, for a ray we say it is just, we know the starting point, we do not know the ending point. But the moment I know the ending point, I term that as line segment. Okay, what are the various line segments you can see here? How many line segments can you see here?
On the half foot line.
You can see many line segments. Is it exactly for this side? How many line segments can you see?
11.
Many line segments, right? So a point, when you have many points joined together, that forms a line. If it is of definite length, it is called as a line segment. Okay, now where do you think, why should you know the length of a line segment?
To use it accordingly.
Where will we use line segments?
For construction.
So properties, so why should we know their length is, it helps us to understand the property of the figure so formed. When the length of the line segments are same and they form a solid figure, a two-dimensional figure, it forms a square. So to understand the property of a figure, it is very important we understand the length of that particular line segment. So now we have understood how do we name our figures, right? Now, if I consider the end points of this shape that is here, this is a rectangular shape figure. Do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So, if I have to name these rectangular shape figure, I will name it at its vertices, right? So, who can quickly show me what are the vertices? Can anyone run and name the vertices quickly? Let us do it for this small, this first. Can you see a rectangle? A small rectangle? Where is your small rectangle? That's a small rectangle, right? Can anyone quickly name the vertices of that rectangle? How do you name the vertex? You'll always represent it with capital letters, right? So if I have to name this small rectangle quickly, can anyone run and name it? So he has named this as A, that as B, C and D. Yes, so he has named this rectangle as A. So he has started from here, A, B, C and D. So I have walked on the boundary of this figure. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Have I walked inside?
No.
I have just touched on the vertices outside. So when I walk on the boundary, I am calculating the perimeter of this figure. So perimeter is always walking on the boundary, and when you walk on the boundary, the distance that you are covering is called as perimeter. So perimeter is calculated by walking on the boundary of the figure, right? When all my vertices are joined, have I joined all my vertices? Right? So when I join all my vertices, I get a closed figure. So is this figure closed or is this figure open?
Open.
It's a,
Open curve.
is this open? No. So this figure, this rectangle that you see is a closed figure because I'm joining all the vertices of the figure. Now, how do I calculate the perimeter of this figure? I will walk on its boundary. But from where I start, I should come back to the same point. Suppose I've started from here. I will move around and I will come back here. Then what distance I have covered is called as the perimeter of this figure.